The party pressed on, deeper into the cursed forest. The atmosphere grew heavier, the air thick with decay and whispers that slithered through the branches. When they finally reached the hag's domain, a wretched cabin nestled between the gnarled trees, they saw what held them at bay, a glowing circle of runes etched into the earth, flickering with dark energy. A protective barrier we can't pass until it's broken. It's tied to something old. The corruption has anchors. Edward, VO. You mean we need to destroy whatever's feeding this? Leary, VO. 3 sources, 3 stones. We have 1 from the dire wolf, that leaves 2 more. They followed the magic's pull to an ancient oak towering and malformed, its bark twisted with veins of black rot. The tree reeked of death, its roots wrapped around half-buried corpses, faces frozen in silent agony. This tree feeds on the dead, and it's using them to protect itself. As if hearing her, the ground trembled. The corpses stirred, their rotting limbs jerking unnaturally as they rose, eyes hollow and lifeless. Skeletal fingers clawed for weapons, rusted blades and shattered shields rattling in their grip. Edward, VO, I hate undead. Boris, let's send him back to the dirt. The dead charged. Boris met them with brute force, his axe cleaving through brittle bones, scattering skulls and limbs in his wake. Edward moved with precision, arrows piercing eye sockets and spinal cords before the undead could reach them. Leary called upon nature's wrath, summoning thick vines that burst from the ground, ensnaring the creature's decaying legs. The tree itself was not idle. Branches whipped forward like spears, lashing at them with violent force. One struck Edward across the chest, sending him crashing into the trunk with a pained grunt. The tree's dark energy slithered into him like an invisible snake, seeping into his coppery scales. His vision blurred momentarily before clearing, the sensation gone, but something had changed. Edward, I'm fine, focus on that damn tree. Time to put this monstrosity on ice. Now, strike the heartwood. Boris let out a roar and drove his axe into the twisted bark. The tree let out a screech like shattering bones, black ichor spilling from the wound. Leary pressed her palms against the earth, summoning a surge of energy that sent the roots writhing in agony. With one final ear-splitting crack, the oak collapsed in on itself, leaving behind a pulsing, corrupted stone. Edward pushed himself off the ground and picked it up. He felt fine, but the shadow of the tree's curse clung to him unseen. Silwen, using her magic, guided the party to a forgotten well, where the last corrupted crystal hidden beneath a collapsed ruin. The wind howled as they peered down into its depths, where the third stone pulsed faintly at the bottom. I'll go. Doubt any of you lightweights can swim down and back up with that thing. Edward, not arguing. Boris secured the rope around a sturdy rock, before securing the other end around his waist. Boris dove into the well. His deep diving strokes used to the ocean currents made short work of the dive. About halfway down it became so dark that his only light source was the crystal below. The well was deeper than Boris first though, as a slight tightness started to grow in his chest. But Boris could see the crystal now, he was so close as he reached out his hand to grasp it. But then, something struck from the shadows of the water. A spike of pain laced through Boris's leg. That's when Boris saw the serpent's head drift back into the darkness. The serpent's head posed for another strike. Boris, not wanting to get bite again, quickly grasped the crystal and yanked on the rope hard. His companions needed no encouragement to start yanking on the rope. Boris held on tight to the rope while kicking his uninjured leg for all he was worth to the surface. As Boris' sling shot it out of the well, Boris shouted that he was being chased by a serpent. Silwen quickly faced the well and frost surged over the well to seal the creatures inside an icy grave. That was close, see? No problem. Next time one of you can swim down the cursed well filled with a snake. With all 3 stones in hand, they returned to the hag's domain. Leary placed them at 3 points around the magic circle. As soon as she completed the placement, the barrier shattered like breaking glass, the dark energy dissipating into the air. And then they saw the truth. Where the cabin had once been a simple wooden hut, it now revealed itself as a grotesque nightmare. The wooden beams twisted like gnarled fingers, bones were woven into its structure, and the very trees seemed to lean inward, their bark screaming with embedded faces. Inside, a hunched figure stirred a massive bubbling cauldron. The foul-smelling liquid within gurgled as she muttered incantations, her bony fingers working with eerie precision. A rusted cage sat beside the cauldron. Within, a small girl huddled, eyes wide with fear. The hag turned, her yellowed teeth stretching into a wicked grin. Her skin was a patchwork of warts and sagging flesh, her nails blackened and curling like talons. "Oh, dearies, you shouldn't have come, but now that you're here, let's have a little fun." Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel as it helps it grow.